Good evening, everybody. Dr. James Petrick, Prior Lake Spinal Care. We are on, what side is my head on? We are on day number 6 of Tic Tac A.D.I.O X3. Moving along, on the far right-hand column, we have what is normal. Sounds like Jeopardy. What is normal for 500? And normal, according to this definition of integration, and that's what we're going for here, right, is connection. And you can see here that it says the coordination of mental processes into a normal, effective personality or with the environment is really what integration means. That's really what connection is. And so when we put the pieces together, as we're talking about our mental, social, emotional well-being, we notice that it's the orchestration, it's the symphony of all these different moving parts in life where we're feeling deeply into the different emotions. We're not apathetic, we're not overly stoic, although stoic isn't necessarily a bad thing. We're engaged, right? We're not afraid to cry when that's appropriate. We're not afraid to get angry when that's appropriate. We're not afraid to even hate, because if we don't hate something, when we don't really love anything either. So this is a really important concept, and I'm reminded by another guy by the name of Jim Valvano. He said that if you laugh, if you think, if you cry, that's a full day. That's a heck of a day. You do that 7 days a week, you're going to have something special. Now, a tearjerker video, we're not going to play the video, but you might have heard of this story before. In the Barcelona Olympics, 1992, there was this runner, his name's Derek Redmond, and he snaps his hamstring about halfway through the 400-meter dash. And his dad ends up helping him hobble across the finish line, and his Olympic dreams are shattered. However, everybody's standing up in the stadium, probably very few dry eyes because of the emotional involvement in his fortitude to keep on going, even with all the pain, all the sacrifice, all the years that it took him to get to that event. And he was expected, or had a very high likelihood of actually winning a medal. And his dad helps him across the finish line. And every time I've watched that, and I've probably seen that about 30 times, and sometimes I do it just so I can be reminded of what the heck normal is, to really, really feel into compassion, because sometimes I see myself as that dad, sometimes I see myself as that runner, sometimes I'm a spectator in the stands. I know what it's like to play in pain. I know what it's like to lose the big game, and based on my roles in life, I'm a son, I'm a dad, and different things that have happened, with family, and I've shared these stories with you last Friday. But this one is especially anchoring for me, and it's really at the heart of what our journaling procedure is all about. We talked about that last time. Nothing really fancy. You take a negative emotion, you turn it into a positive, and then you backtrack. You reverse engineer that with some reasoning, with some logic. You put some meaning to it, and you have a good takeaway thought. Maybe you have a dot that you need to connect. Maybe you have a new meaningful task that you need to carry out. Maybe there's somebody that you need to call or send a text message to, just letting them know that you're thinking about them and that you care for them. So when I think of a person that's really integrated and connected and really into their craft, when we talk about this here, you see right in the middle, disintegration versus rip-whim, the zero, or the O, I should say, tic-tac-toe right in the middle. That has to do with our ability to reason, our intuition, our perception, our willpower, our imagination, as well as our memory. And that is the opposite of disintegration. The most efficient way to do that, to get connected, to be integrated, as we've defined integration here based on what the dictionary has to say about that, the fancy word for connection. The most efficient way to do that is through journaling. However, I like to tell a story of my uncle who passed on earlier this year. His name was Florian Chmielewski, an incredible musician, but he's also a state senator. And the reason that he was so charismatic and everybody liked him, and he lived to be 97 years old, I think strongly was because he was always looking forward to playing his accordion for people. He said that he could bring the fun wherever he went. And of course, the Shimoleski Fun Time Band has been in existence actually for over 100 years. It spans back several generations. But one cool story about my great uncle Florian is his daughter Patty had said during an impasse one time at the state capitol, there's a long layover for these legislators to pass this one bill. He played his accordion, as the story goes, and the other senators had made up some words to the tune that he was playing, and they stayed until like midnight, I suppose, and they finally got the bill passed. Okay, but the reason I mention that is, what is it for you? What is your element? Where do you feel most alive? How does time stand still for you? Because that is exactly what helps you to reason, intuit, perceive differently, have the willpower to learn and carry through, to stoke your imagination, as well as to call on your memory. All in real time. These are things that are healthy for you from a physical standpoint, but also layer number 2, which is our mental, emotional, and social connection. So I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow, where we pop the hood and get into the layer number 3, where we'll be talking about identity and trials. You see the sneak preview there. All right, have a good night. Bye-bye.